BBQ Central Radio Show will air live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The BBQ Central Radio Show will air live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. BBQ Central Radio Show will air live at 9 p.m.
This is Rennie Knopf with ChampionshipBBQ.tv, and you're listening to the BBQ Central Show.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening and welcome to the Really Big BBQ Central Show. Oh, this is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling, broadcasting live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard on your Tuesday evening if you want to jump in on the show tonight. I'm more than happy to have you. It's a phone call, 216-220-0966. It's an email, greg@thebbqcentralshow.com. Everything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter, which to my detriment came out late. I know.
Get that big stuff out of here.
I had that thing set up so early, and wouldn't you know it, took forever to get sent out today. So you might have saw it hit your inbox about 40 minutes ago or less. Apologize, but it was all set up. I'm not sure exactly where the ball was dropped, but nevertheless, coming up in about 12 minutes from now, a first-timer to the show. He probably classifies as a rib burner. One of the pitmasters of Pork Brothers, Mike Fritz, joins us on the show. First-timer, Mike Fritz. Then at 9:35, you know him as the pitmaster of Big Bob Gibson's. You know him now as the repeat world champ in pork shoulder via Memphis in May. I believe also second overall in Memphis in May. So in successive years, Grand Champ, Reserve Grand Champ. He's an author, restaurant guy. Chris Lilly joins us 9:35. Then we'll move to the second hour where we will find the overall winner and world champ in hog and the overall Grand Champ of Memphis in May this year. He is also a restaurateur. You see him on TV every so often. Brad Orson from the Shed will be joining us. Coming out of the Bully tonight at 10:35, a KCBS team that has been racking up wins here as of late. A friend of this show. He is also a contest organizer. A lot of people go to his contest in March to get the rust knocked off from the previous year or to refine those skills, and maybe it's their second or third contest of the year so far. David Qualls, American Dream Barbecue team, is in. Amidst of whole other emails and hijinks and tomfoolery, 216-220-0966. Email greg@thebbqcentralshow.com. All right, as I ask you each and every week, the show is now live, so do me a solid. Get on your email, do a thing where you copy everybody in the blind section. Carbon copy yourself, but send the contact list in the blind line and tell them everybody that the show is on. You should take part in it, enjoy it for what it is. It's a couple different links to send them to if you want. Man, oh man. What is going on with this thing? Wait a second. No. That's not it. Anyway, trying to fix my gate here, but it's hot. It's running hot, ladies and gentlemen. The Audible link that you can send your friends to when you send out this email is thebbqcentralshow.com, and then have them pick a player. The longtime video syndication partner of this show is Outdoor Cooking Channel. Quickly, you can get them to outdoorcookingchannel.com/watch-now. You can also visit the show live on Roku as well. You go to the App Store in Roku, find the Outdoor Cooking Channel, download that app, and you can watch this show live right from the comfort of your big screen television. Not a lot of people doing that type of technology still these days, believe it or not. Me and Chad Ward are the only ones doing it. Don't forget you can subscribe to this show for the Audible replays on iTunes. You can go to YouTube for video replays of this show. Obviously, Outdoor Cooking Channel has replays of this show on the video side as well. The main clearinghouse for audio and video replays of the show is the BBQ Central's main website. So there's no reason you should ever miss anything on this show, ever. Like especially tonight. Do you want the reserve grand overall champ, Chris Lilly? You're going to miss the show tonight because maybe you're working, or maybe you have 75 other better things to do than to log onto your computer and listen to an internet-based show, talk about barbecue. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But you might want to catch it while you're mowing the lawn or making your commute into work tomorrow or Friday or however you consume the show. If you miss Chris Lilly live tonight, you can get him on the podcast. You can also get Brad Orson on the podcast, Mike Fritz, David Qualls, the list goes on. The show has archives dating back to the live show of 2007. We're live for 8 years, baby, yeah. All right, so you would recall that a number of months ago, I pointed out the fact that the Kansas City Barbecue Society on their homepage had put out a recommendations for Barbecue Hall of Fame nominations for this year. And everybody's very aware, if you're a fan of the show, of my rant and why I think it's ludicrous that any Hall of Fame admissions body should be soliciting ideas from the general public. And then, to show my point, I made a grassroots effort, a movement, if you will, to say, hey, let's show these people what can happen when you put suggestion in the hands of the Centralites, the rabid fans known as the Centralites. And there was an email address, and many people, and I said, hey, go ahead, email that letter, but blind me in because I want to see. And I would say well over 100 people copied me in or told me that they did, or maybe they forgot to copy me in originally, but they did it and then forwarded me the letter to show that they did it. Overwhelming support and grassroots movementness to say, hey, we want Greg in the Barbecue Hall of Fame in 2015 under the celebrity/humanitarian category. And I was deeply moved because, A, everybody knows it was going to be an acceptance speech like you have never seen at the what is now new Barbecue Hall of Fame, or under the new management of the Barbecue Hall of Fame. Because I wasn't going to go against my word and tell people what the level of crazy is that I would have been standing up there with the lights of Pat Burke and a Myron Mixon, and the list goes on. However, making this year's 2015 Barbecue Hall of Fame in the celebrity/humanitarian category, none other than a Fairly Show regular, multiple-time author and TV show host and teacher of barbecue to hundreds, if not thousands, of people since he has started this whole deal, and someone that I consider a friend in the industry. And quite frankly, somebody who should have been in from the word Jump Street. Stephen Reichlin in for 2015. Of course, that means also I did not get in for celebrity/humanitarian as I had requested for 2015.
big step out of here.
To say I'm disappointed and hurt and passed by and perhaps not even getting consideration, and people used your emails and the decision-making chain at the American Royal perhaps wiped their buttock with it instead of giving it proper consideration, and how I have touched more people than anybody else has up for nomination. I mean, who knows? I didn't get in. However, if anybody is going to beat me out after I had put a full court press on getting into the Barbecue Hall of Fame this year that I'm going to be okay with, it's Steven freaking Reichel. Absolutely. Don G, I have touched more people, and you know it. I've touched you plenty. I've touched you in a fashion where I have also given you gifts you have allowed me to touch you so much. What are we talking about here? Mike Fritz coming up out of the break. Folks, if you didn't know already, Big Papa Smokers is the one-stop online shop for anyone interested in barbecue. It's the #1 dealer of Mac pellet grills in the world. Big Papa Smokers features a double-wide selection of American-made grills and smokers such as the Old Hickory Ace BP Gateway Drum Smokers, even a drum kit that gives you everything you need to make a world-class smoker out of a 55-gallon drum. Big Papa Smokers has also made a name for itself in recent years by crafting an award-winning line of championship rubs. From flavors like Sweet Money to Happy Ending, their rubs have had a hand in winning every major barbecue competition, including the 2012 and 13 American Royal, the 2012 and 14 Jack Daniels, 2013 Kingsford Challenge, 2014 Houston Livestock and Rodeo, 2014 King of the Smoker. More to come. Don't think BPS can be just pigeonholed in competitive barbecue either. BPS rubs have become so well known they've been picked by a nationwide restaurant chain, BJ's Restaurant and Brew House, with 4 of the 9 BPS rubs featured on their permanent menu. And amid glowing reviews, BPS rubs are a proven and great addition to anyone's pantry. Big Papa's also banded together with fellow California-based rub company Simply Marvelous Barbecue to form what has now become known as the West Coast Offense. Defying conventional wisdom, these two California-based rub makers have cornered the market on the competitive barbecue world and begun to redefine the flavor profiles that competitive cooks from across the country have begun to aim for. Big Papa's website also features an online meat locker with top quality meats from Snake River Farms shipped right to your front door. From the American Kobe beef, Caribou pork, Double R ranch meats, Big Papa's Meat Locker has something for every type of barbecue aficionado, and they're committed to bringing you the very best barbecue flavors on the market. Proof positive. How about Swamp Boys sauce, a fine swine sauce, Granny's barbecue sauce? These are the new kids on the block, so take your pocketbook. Check them out there. Big Papa's also created a unique brand ambassador program called the BPS Elite Team, featuring 15 of the best competition cooks in the country, working together to promote camaraderie, competition barbecue, and to benefit children's charities across the U.S. Keep in mind, folks, that Big Papa Smokers has been able to do all this within only 5 years of being in business, turning the competition barbecue world on its head, providing customers with the very best barbecue products, becoming a staple of a nationwide restaurant chain, and benefiting children's charities across the U.S. Just the beginning for Big Papa Smokers, and, of course, the website, BigPapaSmokers.com. All right, we are back with first-timer to the BBQ Central Show, Jungle, Mike Fritz from the Pork Brothers. Right after this, you're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show right here on the BBQ Central Radio Networks.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Your way to get in touch with the show tonight. This portion of the BBQ Central Show is being brought to you by Sam's Club National Barbecue Tour. 31 cities, $500,000 in cash to be won. Next stop on the tour this Saturday, May 23rd in Marietta, Georgia. This is a local qualifier that'll feed the top 6 teams in the South Haven, Mississippi Regional Final. Find out more about the Sam's Club Barbecue Series. check the results, or to register your team to compete, you can visit kcbs.us/Sam's Tour. That's kcbs.us/Sam's Tour. All right, joining me now is one of the pitmasters of a team called the Pork Brothers. Perhaps you would classify them as more of a rib burner team than the traditional KCBS-style teams or FBA-style teams, or, for that matter, MIM-style teams. So we race over to the hotline to get in touch with one of those pitmasters. Mike Fritz joining me here on the show. Mike, how are you?
Please enter your security code.
Security code? No! All right. I can't enter a security code because I don't know what it is. Hopefully, we haven't missed... See, then I always get leery about, did I give you the right time? Are we in a situation of time zone adjustment? But they're coming here. I want to hear this.
Please enter your security code.
Uh-oh. Now we got trouble.
Get that big stuff out of here.
All right, now
Please
hold
enter
on.
your security
I
code.
am not entering any security code, and I'll thank you to stay out of my personal business. All right. Let me go find the phone number and make sure that I didn't enter it in wrong. Right? Oh. Copy. Call. All right, now I'm going to edit this number. Please stand by for technical difficulty. All right, that looks good. Now let's call the phone again. And I did say 9:14, right? Oh, that would be the worst. Just go. I spoke. May 19th, 9:14 p.m. All right. I'm good. Mike, you there, buddy? Mike?
Please enter your security code.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Well, here we go. Hey, Dave Bosca, call into the show right now if you can. 216-220-0966. I got some questions that I can ask you, by God, that only probably you can answer since I see you in the room. How do I book you for the show and you're not ready to go? I don't get it.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Pork Brothers Barbecue, where are you? You are on the clock. I was going to let you promote your event that you were going to be at here in the Clevelands. They're going to be there. This is, when we get to Memorial Day weekend, I don't know what it is in your neck of the woods or what it's like in your neck of the woods. But when it gets close to Memorial Day here in Cleveland, you might as well open up all of the rib burn-off floodgates starting this past weekend in historic Willoughby, Ohio, for crying out loud. It was absolutely crazy. Dave, thank you for calling in.
Yeah. What can you help with?
All right, Dave, so I had a young man on last week called Levi Bosca. Are you aware of this character?
Oh, yeah, quite aware of that young man.
I knew it. So we were talking about the lead up to this past weekend, which, of course, was the big opening of the Butcher's barbecue stand. And now that the weekend has come and gone, I didn't want to, over ask, given my bad luck with rib burners for this coming weekend. I figure, hey, you can give me a quick recap of how the stand went off this past weekend, if it met expectation, all that stuff. I mean, well, I guess I should ask the first obvious question. You were around there this weekend, correct?
Oh yes, yeah. We're taking the full month of May off and just getting ready for that, and then I'll be working with him for 2 or 3 weekends.
So how did this past weekend go? I guess at a high level, and then as you dig into receipts that you'd like to see and sales, and did things sell better than expectation, all that stuff. How did it kind of go in both sections?
We had a real good start. We planned it out real good as far as the flow in the back. Thursday we had a soft opening. We had invited about 300 people, and we had about 170 show up. We got a good flow in the kitchen then, served a whole bunch of meals. Took Friday off, recalculated, looked at the flow in the back, made just a couple minor changes. And the plan was then just to open Saturday, 11 o'clock till 8 o'clock. We started cooking Friday at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon for briskets and butts. And at 4:30, we closed the doors. We had sold out of about 400 or 500 pounds of each.
Wow.
A little over 100 and some slabs of ribs. I couldn't tell you how much chicken, sausage, and we have a hamburger that is like no other.
Incredible.
It's a half pound. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it looks freaking incredible. I saw Levi's Instagram shots of it, the smoked hamburger. It looks absolutely delectable. Yes,
we don't have a fry-later. We don't have a flat top. If it can't be cooked in the smoker, we don't serve it. The hamburger is a half-pound hamburger. It's 60% ground beef, 40% ground belly / bacon. And I'm going to tell you, it is to die for. It's amazing how many of those we have sold the first weekend. The company that we have making them told us that they have taken those pictures and they're trying to utilize Levi's pictures for them. So we'll see where that goes. But we were honored and pleased and then pissed off all at one time. We ran out of food. The line never got below 15, 20 people from about 10:30 till the time we actually had to tell everybody we were completely out. We started out in about 2 hours. We sold out of ribs. Then we were out of chicken. Then we were slowly getting close to the hamburgers. Then it just, as we got closer and closer down from meat to meat, it just went quicker because that's all that was left. So we regrouped. Saturday night, we added about a third more meat to cook for for Sunday, because Sunday we're only scheduled from 11 to 3. Out here in the community where we're at is more of a church type community, and we thought, well, we'll get the after church goers and some Highway 66 runners, and that'll be about it. So we added a third more food to the smoker. I was cooking till about 2:30 in the morning, and then I went home. Levi came in at 4 o'clock. He got started getting ribs in, and 3 o'clock or 3:30, we were out of food again.
Really?
I think we had about a quarter of a brisket over and about 10 hamburger patties, and
wow.
We were done. We were out again.
I mean, so that's like, you look at it from there's two heads. I mean, I'm a businessman, you're a businessman, Levi's a businessman. I mean, when it's selling that good, the last thing you want to do is run out of food, right? I mean, because food is money and you want to generate the revenues and ring the register and all that stuff. However, you never want to be in a spot, in my opinion, especially in a barbecue restaurant, where you hit a downturn and there isn't anybody in line, or maybe there's a very slow moving number of people that span over the course of a 2 or 3 hour time frame, and now you just have kind of meat hanging out. We all know what happens if you don't have the proper technique or the proper equipment to hold that stuff. It gets dry. It's not as good as it was when it comes off the pit. So selling out, I always assimilate selling out of barbecue with what they're doing in Texas. You go to Franklin's Barbecue or Cruises or any of those really top-notch places. They open up, they sell until they're out of meat, and boom, you're done. And if you didn't make the line, tough shit. You can come back tomorrow, come back a little bit earlier, and maybe get your number pulled. That's got to be the best and worst feeling, as you said, that you can possibly have. You're having so much success. You don't want it to go away because you're having this success. However, if you're going to make that trade-off, that's probably one that you're willing to make that trade for, right?
Absolutely. We did not want to be one that sold out. We wanted food till 8 o'clock. We really custom discussed this for months prior to opening of how we wanted to handle this. We did not want to train our customers, because that's what you're going to end up doing, is training your customers to where at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they're not going to take a chance on you because you're out of food all time. So eventually you're going to slow your sales down in the evening because people are going to quit trying to come over to eat because you're out. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to say we got hours worth this. But I'm going to tell you, Saturday at 4:30 when we ran out, we had every holding cabinet we had full. The smoker was holding food. The steam pans on the tables were holding food. We had food sitting everywhere we could possibly set it, and we ran out. Levi made a brilliant decision or a comment and says, I can see why those restaurants say we're open at 11 and we close when we run out, because we're not set up like the mass merchandisers or the chains of restaurants that can have 3 crews sitting there running and cooking and cleaning and re-prepping and then re-smoking while someone else is still out serving. We're still just a small operator, and we can only do X amount of food. Barbecue isn't fast food. It takes time to cook a brisket, to cook a pork. I'm not telling you something you don't know, but it's not anything that you can see at noon. I've already sold half of my stock. I can have it in and done for the 5 o'clock rush.
Right.
It's not going to happen. So we really talked about it Monday and Tuesday. We weren't real sure what we wanted to do. We're going to add more meat to the smoker. We're going to work on trying to get a little bit more. It is really comforting to know that every day it's fresh food. There's nothing held over. There's nothing reheated. It's fresh every single day. That puts out the competition quality food that we started to do. We're cooking chicken in a pan just like we do at a contest. We're doing our ribs. We're wrapping ribs. We wrap brisket. We wrap our pork butt. We're doing our competition cook like we do in a restaurant, mass volume. It took me 35 minutes Saturday night at 11 o'clock at night to start wrapping briskets to get them all wrapped to where they could be done for Sunday. We pulled 130, 40 pieces of foil for ribs. That just is insane. That's a lot of aluminum foil wasted. It's not wasted because it's turning out the quality of the rib that we want to put out and put our name on.
Yeah, I guess that was going to be the kind of the last question that I had for you in regards to, I mean, look, there's no one more discerning than you, especially given the competition chops that you have on what does the food taste like when it comes off the pit? What does it taste like 15 minutes later? What does it taste like an hour later? So when you take the time and the effort to devise holding plans and making sure that the first customer is getting the same type of food selection that the last customer is, and that there's as short or small of a gap between any type of quality between those proteins, that's got to be like the number one goal, right?
Absolutely, it is. We actually had probably 3 slabs of ribs over the weekend that when Levi went to serve them, he took them, threw them back on the table. He said, I'm not putting that out in a box. He would not serve it. We cooked Sunday, to serve Sunday, there was a brisket. It was about 10 o'clock in the morning. Him and I was sitting there slicing brisket. He said, man, this brisket's tight. I said, well, wrap it back up. We've got the smoker going. We'll just put it back in and tender it up. 2 o'clock that afternoon, he pulled it out. It just still wasn't tender. He said, I ain't serving it. So I'm not saying that whole brisket was left over, but we wouldn't serve it. We don't want that out there. So we didn't even classify that as a brisket servable. So there's a brisket that wasn't tarpara, and we're not going to serve it. So it didn't ever hit the blocks to be sliced for that.
So is that something that gets turned into Brunswick stew, or do you have you guys made some type of an allotment for loss?
That's something that we made decisions what we're going to do with it to help push for advertisement, things we can do through the week to utilize it. But we're not going to sway off of our menu right now. We've got 5, 6 basic meats. That's what it is. We don't make desserts. If you ever got to see his menu, our dessert is a Twinkie. We're not bakers. We're not saying that we got the best apple pie or the best chocolate cake or the cream cheesecake or whatever. No, we're concentrating on the barbecue, the sides, and that's what we're turning out. We'll give you something sweet to eat when it's done. It's called a Twinkie. That's mastered already. We don't need to reinvent that. And hell, who don't like a Twinkie?
I love a Twinkie. And actually, as you're probably well aware, that Ted Reeder character has put Twinkies on planks, injecting them with Jack Daniels, and they appear to be very good smoked as well. So, I mean, who knows what could be going on with that stuff. So, I mean, all in all, a huge success then, right?
Yes. Very, very pleased with it. At this point, couldn't ask for anything different coming out of the first weekend.
All right, we are talking with Dave Bosca from Butcher BBQ. Of course, the website, butcherbbq.com, the rubs, the injections, the sauces, the grilling oils. You got to go over there and pick up at least 7 or 8 of each, and you'll be very happy that you did. You'll thank me. You'll thank Dave. Dave, appreciate you calling in here last second to give us the update. Continued success, and hopefully the barbecue stand keeps rolling right along.
Well, Greg, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it, and everybody go to Facebook, like our Butcher Barbecue Stand page. That's where you're going to keep updates. Levi will be posting all the time on that.
All right, there is Dave Bosca. Thanks so much, pal.
You bet. Bye.
Dave Bosca. Just said that. So there you go. All right, well, I've been able to derive exactly what the issue was for our planned forced segment guest. And as sometime ought to happen, there was just a small digit error in that phone number.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Sometimes the digits do need to be right in order to get to the people that we need to talk to. But that's all right. As we know, there are many rib cook-offs coming up, but this one did happen to be local. I believe it was like the Berea rib cook-off or something like that. I mean, I'm not a rib burner myself, but that was the issue. Wrong phone number. I was calling the wrong number. Kind of like, remember when I called Patrick Banks from Booty Q and some guy picked up the phone and pretended like he was Patrick Banks for like 5 or 6 minutes, and then I was asking him questions. He realized that he was in too deep, and the dude was like, I'm out. Hello, Patrick. Where'd you go, buddy? I'm out. No worries. We'll get him reloaded. We'll get him back on. Mike Fritz will be on one way or another someday or another. Thanks again to Dave Bosca for bringing us up to speed on the first weekend. All right, folks, a public service message to all the barbecue brothers and sisters from one of your show sponsors, Stephen DeFranco of StephenDeFranco.com. That's right. A barbecue junkie in his own right. Father's Day is coming up shortly. What to get dear old dad? New clothes that he won't wear? No. New shoes that will be covered in barbecue sauce in like a week? No. New tie? Yuck. Stephen DeFranco Jewelers has the perfect answer. How about a new watch? That's right, Steve has an incredible selection of watches that would be perfect for dear old dad. How about the Bulova watches? Why spend a ton of money on a watch if you don't have to? Bulova watches are stylish and affordable, starting under $200. Bulova watches come in traditional quartz styles, retro-styled automatic versions. You have the chronographs, the skeletons, and the traditional styles that fill out the Bulova line of timepieces. Then you have the Bulova Precisionist. Do you want the most accurate watch in the world? Of course, that's why I have it. The Bulova Precisionist is that watch. Exclusive movement from the Bulova Precisionist. Break down the second-hand movements into 16 segments per second, giving you a second hand that is smooth and silky. Steel, titanium versions are available as well. Then you have the Bulova Accutron. I got one of those. High-end without the high price. Cadillac of the Bulova line. The Accutron is the pinnacle of high-end design without breaking the bank, starting below $600. The Accutron watch gives you the high-end style, quality, and lifestyle without breaking the bank. Citizens, you gadget junkie, Citizens is the perfect watch for the gadget guy. Eco Drive technology converts light into energy, powering your watch perfectly and accurately. Need a timer for your barbecue cooking? Some Citizens have multiple timers along with alarms in multiple time zones. Philip & Company completes this high-end line. Many high-end European watch companies assemble using Swiss movements called ETA. Philip hand assembles his watches personally using ETA movements, hand-picked components. Starting at $895, Phillips watches have been an elegant European style, and they're affordable. All Phillips watches hand-serialed, numbered, and registered with him himself. Go to StephenDeFranco.com. That's StephenDeFranco.com. Pick out the new watch, then call him. 440-943-2700. Tell him you're a barbecue brother or sister, and he'll give you the real discounted price of the watch. He's not allowed by the manufacturer to show the real discounted price on this website. He also will ship that watch to you for free. What's better than that? If it's free, it's me. That's rule number 3 of the show. If it's free, it's me. That's what to get dear old dad this year. Dear old dad. All right, we are back with Chris Lilly, RGC of Memphis in May, and the repeat world champ in pork shoulder right here. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the BBQ Central Show being brought to you by Green Mountain Grills, manufacturers of some of the best pellet cookers on the market today. If you're looking for a big cooker to house a lot of food, they got one for you. If you're looking for medium size, they got you covered there. How about something to take on the tailgates and so forth? Yeah, they got something there too. They can also supply you with quality wood pellets to fire that pellet cooker. Check them out at greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. And you will be off and running. David Qualls, attention David Qualls, you're at 10:35 Eastern. 10:35 Eastern. Okay, so make sure that you're aware. I'll be talking to you in an hour from now. All right, joining me now, a author, a restaurateur, a pitmaster, a TV celebrity, if you will. But most importantly, out of all of that stuff and the winning and money and the hot chicks and all that stuff, friend of this show, Chris Lilly, joining us. Chris, how are you, buddy?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for the invitation.
It's always my pleasure to have you on the show, Chris. Always appreciate the time that you make for it. And, another great weekend for Big Bob Gibson's. And, before we get into that and do a bit of a breakdown or post-mortem on Memphis in May, let me ask you something about the Barbecue Hall of Fame. Are you up to speed on the Barbecue Hall of Fame as it sits over there at the American Royal right now?
I hear about it every time because I do the American Royal every year. The team goes over, and so every year we find out when we get over to the Hall of Fame, who is inducted and everything. So yeah, we get a glimpse of that every year we travel to Kansas City.
What's your take on the Barbecue Hall of Fame? Is that something that you like? It's you take it in because you're there, but you wouldn't make a trip for it? Is it still kind of something that, in your estimation, needs to get something more behind it, or more press, or some more validity, or anything like that? Or do you think it's okay right now?
I really think they are trying to, and I guess I guess, I don't know if, full list of who's in there. And I think they had it a while and it's just sort of died down a little bit, and they're really trying to bring it back and really trying to induct some people in it every year and make it current. And it's really cool for me to go every year and see, which one of them, because, I've been in barbecue a long time. So it's cool for me to go to the Barbecue Hall of Fame every year, or to go to Kansas City each year and see, which one of my friends are being inducted. So it's pretty cool for me to find out who's going in every year. So yeah, I think it's, I would love for it to get, more momentum, but I think they're on the right track.
Undoubtedly, Chris, and you would never say it, so I'm going to say it for you. At some point, you'll be in the Barbecue Hall of Fame. You've seen a lot of success on the business side. You've seen a lot of success on the celebrity side. Of course, you have seen an extreme amount of success on the pitmaster side. All are categories as it sits right now for the Barbecue Hall of Fame. So if you had your druthers when they give you the cap and gown and the big wad of cash to go in, how would you like to go? How would you like to go into the Barbecue Hall of Fame out of those three categories?
Wow, that's a great question, and I think a easy question for me. I would rather go in on the if I ever go in. And again, there's a lot of people out there that are deserving, and I expect a lot of more people to go in it before I'm considered. But if that ever happens, I would love to go in it for the work I've done in the pits. Without a doubt, that's where I get the majority of my gratification. In the pit rooms, that's where I started, and hopefully that's where I'll end up.
This year in the celebrity/humanitarian category, while I made a valiant grassroots press to get into the 2015 Hall of Fame this year, somehow I was put on the schneid. In my place, however, a Steven Reichlin was included this year. Do you think, given his breadth of work and the time that he has had in, and the TV and the books and all this other stuff, and the multiple not only cities and states but countries that he has been in, is there a more deserving person that should go into the Hall of Fame than Steven?
To be honest with you, without a list, Steven Reichlin is well deserved to go in there. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that would be more deserving than him. Steven's been around a long time. Looking back to, I guess it was probably the first year I went to the National Barbecue Association convention. That was when he first came out with his book. And, his book now is definitely on every barbecuer's shelf. That is one of the first books that, not only for the barbecue world, but that took the barbecue world and placed it, in everyday conversation. And really he was on the forefront of the popularity of barbecue. So I look at Steven and think that with what he did as far as writing goes, and his travels around the world and promoting barbecue, he was on the forefront. So without a doubt, Steven should be in the Barbecue Hall of Fame.
Absolutely agree. I think Steven's a great guy, and certainly appreciate everything that he has done for the industry as well as you do. We're talking with Chris Lilly, the pitmaster of Big Bob Gibson's competition cooking team. The website, bigbobgibson.com, if you want to check it out here while we're talking. All right, Chris, so let's go ahead and take a look back at this past weekend. Of course, a year ago, we were talking about Big Bob Gibson's take on the overall GC of Memphis in May, pork champion in that category, and then taking the overall. This year, ever so close to a repeat. You repeat in the pork category, of course, but miss on the GC. So as you look back over Memphis in May, and you've done Memphis in May a number of times. You're a scarred and jagged veteran of this particular competition, and you've won it a lot. What were your thoughts on the 2015 version of the Memphis in May competition this year?
It was actually one of the most enjoyable Memphis in May so far. A lot of my enjoyment comes not from winning, but just basically getting together with old friends every year. I was really proud for the Shed, who got their first GC at Memphis in May, their second Hog World Championship, and it definitely did a fantastic job. We put out a heck of a shoulder, and we were really, really proud, and really, really, we thought we definitely thought we had a chance. But the cool thing was this year is when we made finals, and that's probably the funnest part of Memphis in making the cut from 270 teams down to the three top shoulders, 3 top ribs, and 3 whole hogs, and going head to head against the other competition. That's definitely what I love. But we're ecstatic about making whole shoulders, and then we looked at the list of who was in the category with us, and it was Sweet Swine of Mine and Red Hot Smokers. Both of those are former grand champions of Memphis in May. Probably on paper, probably the 3 toughest, shoulder teams or that had the most success at Memphis in May. I knew it was going to be a gritty battle in the finals, and we were definitely, Big Bob Gibson team was proud to get to make it on top, especially because Sweet Swine of Mine, dear friends of mine, Red Hot Smokers, Wayne, really loved the team, really first-class people. So to be in the head-to-head with them, it just really made my day.
Actually, Mark Lambert in the chat room listening to the show right now, believe it or not. So I'm sure he appreciates the mention, listening to this interview.
Well, I hope he is. Mark is a friend of mine. The whole team are friends, and I can think of no other team at Memphis in May that I have more respect for than Sweet Swine of Mine. Every year they are in contention and are liable to win grand champion, liable to win shoulder. What super people. And if you don't know them, you need to get to know them.
When you're stacked up against Red Hot Smokers and Sweet Swine of Mine, and you eventually get the overall, you get the shoulder nod, let's just keep it there. And these guys, as you mentioned, are also MIM grand champs as well. What do you think, just in your estimation, what do you think sets you guys apart from the other two, knowing how good those other two are?
I don't think there's a whole lot there that distinguishes between our team and those two teams. I think on any given day, Red Hot can beat us, and they have, and Sweet Swine of Mine can beat us, and they have. I just think it comes down to 4 judges' specific preferences and flavor profile. And, if I'm lucky enough to get the judges who like my flavor profile better that day, then, there's a good chance I'll win. You better believe, those teams are going to execute. It's not a matter of them not executing or me not executing. We do it enough, and we do these we cook whole shoulders enough where we're gonna hit it. I think it really comes down to flavor profile. And getting a little lucky with the judges, that come in and like or dislike your flavor profile or like yours better.
So from year over year, do you make any adjustments to the flavor profile? Is that something that you're continually tinkering with, or because you have it dialed in now and you've seen the success there, it's something you can stay kind of consistent with? Over the years, I guess, at Memphis, we had a really good run there a while ago with 6 first-place shoulders in a row and a couple grands. And then we started missing the top 10, or not the top 10, but missing the top 3. We were finishing like 4th, 5th, 6th in that area right there several years in a row. And then I had to go back to the drawing board and make some adjustments. I worked on a different, or a glaze for my pork shoulder. I never had glazed in the past. I was just, doing injection and a dry rub and serving the meat right off the bone to the judges. So I started experimenting with a glaze, and then that got us back to where we needed to be. Since then, probably 2011, I haven't made any adjustments whatsoever to the pork shoulder for Memphis in May. All right, so 4 years of consistent flavor profile, and you've seen good success since then. This probably shows how copious my note-taking skill is, Chris, but could one perhaps ascertain that the reason you didn't win overall Grand Champ was because you didn't have thoroughly frozen pork butts to deal with this weekend like you did last year?
That is, you know what? That could be it. And hey, you joke about it because last year we did, and you know this, we did have all frozen pork last year when we won the Grand Championship. This year we had fresh pork and we didn't win. But we joked with the team, beforehand, should we order frozen pork this year, to keep everything the same. I'm a big proponent of fresh pork. Fresher the better, without a doubt. This year we used a Compart Duroc product that we're pleased with. But you got to go fresh. But it is funny. I don't know. I'll still go fresh next year. I'm not going back to frozen.
No, I agree with you for sure. Chris Lilly joining us here on the show, pitmaster Big Bob Gibson's competition barbecue team. BigBobGibson.com is the website. Chris, as far as competitions for the rest of the season, or at least maybe over the next handful of months, and then what you're up to.
Okay. First of all, if anybody out there doesn't know, we've already done the Kingsford Invitational. It is going to air Memorial Day night on Destination America, so you've got to check that out. The competition is over. There are 4 categories: a steak category, a chicken category, and a beef brisket category, and a pick your pork category, which is new. But check that out, Destination America, on Memorial Day evening, that Monday night, to see how we did. The next one that I definitely have scheduled is the American Royal. We'll ease out there and check out the new location over there, and also find out who gets into the Barbecue Hall of Fame. And I always love to sneak in a contest that I've never done before. I don't have anything scheduled, but I'll probably sneak in maybe a KCBS contest between now and then. The other things I got coming up, I've got the Atlanta Food and Wine Festival coming up, not this weekend, but the next. I'm on the board of advisories there, and I've got 2 events. I'm doing an Alabama barbecue on Thursday night, celebrating the year of barbecue, and I'm also teaching some seminars on Saturday morning there. 2 weeks after that, second weekend in June, I've got the Big Apple Barbecue Block Party. Streets of New York, shut down Madison Avenue, cooking barbecue for 2 days, and serving the public. That's always a blast to get back up there.
Chris, 2 quick questions here before I let you go, and I appreciate the time. You had mentioned the Kingsford Invitational, and it was weird. Like, if you weren't on the inner circle, and I'd had no idea what was going on. I heard people were going to New York City. There were random social media posts. Well, I guess precursoring all of this, that Tuffy Stone is one fickle bitch, because he figures out a way to pull off the big ones when he barely ever cooks, but that's neither here nor there. But I couldn't figure out why they didn't put any type of media press on, or saying, hey, it's this weekend. I didn't know if it was going to be a television event, so I'm at least a little refreshed to know that it was something that was taped, and it's going to be for the consuming public to see. And I assume, you probably haven't seen finished product, but it went off fairly well as far as, you've done, all these since it started out a couple of years ago.
Well, a couple things first. Any teams out there looking for a name, I think, Greg, you just coined it. Fickle Bitch Barbecue would be a good one. So everybody keep that in mind. It's probably not taken. But, I think what they were trying to do, and again, because I was cooking this year, I'd hosted the last 2 years. Because I was cooking it this year, Kingsford definitely kept me out of the know. So I was just on the email list, and I was getting information as everybody else got it. So I can only assume and guess what their intent was. I think they were trying to keep it on the down low at first, and just open it up to media. They wanted bloggers, writers. They wanted a bunch of people there actually covering the event on site while it was going on, not only with the camera, but also press as it went down. But now that it's over and now that it airs, now the word is starting to trickle out that yes, we did it. We did it in New York City, and it was a fantastic contest. So yeah, without telling you who won, I think you got to look out for Fickle Bitch Barbecue.
That's right. Very good. Chris Lilly is with Big Bob Gibson, and he is the repeating pork shoulder champ and RGC this year. MIM. Chris, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, my friend.
You
Take
got
care.
it. There he is. Chris Lilly, the pitmaster of Big Bob Gibson's competition team. Obviously, well connected in through the restaurant side of things, and has the book out as well that we didn't really talk about. So kept them a little bit long, but that was some great stuff. Again, as he said, Fickle Bitch Barbecue is a team name. I'm going to get that one back. Chris Lilly, you stay off that one now. You stay off it. All right, gang, if you're like me, always thinking of ways to step up the barbecue and grilling game, there is no better or easier way to do that than with adding a little Butcher Barbecue to your arsenal. And if you're in the Oklahoma area, stopping off at the Butcher Barbecue stand for a bite to eat, or all bites to eat. Food sounds tremendous. We all know Butcher's is well known for the injections, the pork, the beef, the prime injection, the bird booster, the open pit pork injection, the grilling oils, the sauces, the rubs, the list goes on and on. The trade-in link. What's the trade-in link? Oh, I'm glad you've asked. Maybe you've bought or purchased a commercial injection from somebody else. It's not Dave Boston. Well, first of all, shame on you. How dare you. But I get it. Sometimes you think the grass is greener, but the scores tumbled, didn't they? The high fives not as frequent from the neighboring males and females in the neighborhood. Well, in the past, you were screwed. You spent all that money on the injection, and you're going to have to throw it out or mix it in with water and spread it over the grass, and hopefully your grass stayed juicy all summer. Not anymore. You can go to Butcher Barbecue. That's butcherbbq.com. Click on the trade-in link, and then you send your commercial injection to Dave. He will get it, weigh it. His weigh-ins are final, and then in return, he'll send you back one of those injections that I meant. You specify what you'd like back. He'll send you the same exact weight, up to 5 pounds, back to you. And you can do that by going to butcherbbq.com. Go to the trade-in link, print off the label, send your commercial stuff back. It's got to be commercial, not crap that you make. Not crap that you make at home. The commercial stuff. And then he will give you some really good stuff in return. It's just a way to show you that he's not only interested in making his customers happy, but he's interested in making his competition's customers happy as well. Don't worry about breaking the bank when it comes to shipping. Items totaling up to $55. Ship at $8.55. No, $8.50. Between $55 and $200, ship at $9.75. Anything over $200 ships for free. As I always say each and every week, just buy $200 worth of stuff, or just over $200 worth of stuff. Save on the shipping. And there isn't anything that's available for purchase right now that you're just not going to love. Buy it all. Tell me what you don't like. And after I get done calling you a liar, I'll buy it off of you, because it's all good stuff. Head on over to butcherbbq.com and stock up right now. That's butcherbbq.com. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the BBQ Central Show.
All right. Welcome back. We will try Mike Fritz back. I'll get in touch with the PR hacks over there. Get him lined back up. Thanks again to Chris Lilly for joining me last segment. A great segment. That could be one of the all-time classic segments as we came up with a new barbecue team name, Fickle Bitch Barbecue. You heard it here first. Chris Lilly said bitch on my show. That's even better. Love that. That dude can play some blackjack now. Don't ask me how I know. No names, please. We will have a Sucklebusters giveaway in the second hour, so stay tuned for that. Get on your emails. Get your fat fingers ready to win that. We'll learn a little bit about this past weekend's Sam's Club Series, local qualifier event. And we have some great guests as well. You are listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. We'll refresh. We'll come back for the second hour and do it all live right here. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Helen Paradise from SoCal, and you are listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how you doing?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish, what?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
All right, welcome back to the second hour. Hey, yo. You found the BBQ Central Show. Welcome aboard. This is the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. We broadcast live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday. You want to jump in tonight? 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com is the email address if you missed the first hour. Where were you? You missed good stuff. We talked with Dave Bosca about the first weekend of Butcher Barbecue Stand, the sales, how they ran out of meat in seismic and gargantuan proportions on both days. So if you're going to be heading on over to Butcher Barbecue Stand, make sure you show up early and buy a lot, because if you don't buy enough, there might not be seconds. Or get a hotel room and go back the next day. Either way is fine with Dave and Levi. It's fine. Stay there for a week. Eat all you want. That's what I'm talking about. We also talked with Chris Lilly from Big Bob Gibson's. We talked about his repeat in GC. We talked about his repeat in pork shoulder at Memphis in May. And we also talked about the RGC overall. So another successful Memphis in May. Does he have four wins overall in Memphis in May now, or 5 or something like that? He's won a lot. He's won a number of pork categories as well, maybe 8 or something like that, or 10 or whatever the heck it is. He wins a lot at Memphis in May. He's got it down. As he said, as you go back, if you listen to the podcast, he hasn't changed flavor profile at Memphis in May. And since 2011. So I think there's few teams that have been able to dial in a particular flavor. Now, granted, he's not going out every week like a number of these people are in KCBS FBA and competing, where maybe they do need to make those tweaks. This is just a one-off type of a situation. So those people are still digging on his flavor profile, so there's no need to switch. It's obviously working. Just look at the results. Still to come tonight, the GC of Memphis in May, the whole hog winner as well. Brad Orson from the Shed will be here to talk about it. And at 10:35, the pitmaster of the American Dream barbecue team, David Qualls, will also be talking with us as well. If you didn't know, folks, the 2015 Sam's Club Barbecue Series rolled into St. Charles, Missouri this past weekend. This was a local qualifier that sent the top 6 teams to the regional round that will be in... Damn it. I thought I had this updated, but I don't think I have it updated all the way. And I don't want to say anything incorrect. If there's one thing I want to be, it is correct. 16th, St. Charles, Missouri, Midwest City, Oklahoma Regional. That will take place on September 26th. Of course, the overall championship is October 10th, 2015. The top 6 teams moving on, taking grand champ with a 689 and 6/10. Shake and Bake Barbecue. Boom. Reserve with a 688.59 Brickhead Barbecue. Third place, Burnt at Both Ends with a Z. Number 4, Outlaw Hogs Barbecue. Number 5, Pitmaster IQ Barbecue. Number 6, Blazin' Blues Barbecue, who, if I am not mistaken, was the original or the inaugural overall grand champ at the Smokin' at the Run at the Buffalo Run Casino 3 years ago. Am I wrong on that, Dave? That's the guy, right? Blazin' Blues Barbecue. Your scoring span from first to sixth, a 689.6 takes first, a 674.2 takes sixth place. So 15 points. That's an ass-kicking, folks, from front to second, or from 1 to 6. That's a very sizable gap from 1 to 6. Although first to second was very slim, a 689.6 and a 688.5. So just over a point separating 1 and 2. The next Sam's Club event will be this coming weekend, May 23rd in Marietta, Georgia. This is a local qualifier that feeds the South Haven, is it South Haven? Mississippi Regional. Good luck to all those competing. All right, well, I'm going to quickly pull up my Facebook page because I could tell you about it and you wouldn't believe it if I told you. What I'm about to show you perhaps will shock and appall you, but I'm here to tell you that this is for real. This is not a joke. I even got do they have any better pictures than this? No. All right, well, I got to pull this off on my Facebook page. All right, this is my Facebook page. Men, it's getting warmer out, and when it gets warmer out, you might think about going to the pool or going to the lake or the river or the creek or wherever it is that you go to the swimming hole. You're looking perhaps for a new swimming outfit. I may or may not have the best idea you have ever seen in your life. May I introduce to you the Bulge Pouch. Yes, folks, there it is, the Bulge Pouch. Right here, you see it in the middle of your screen. Few thoughts that come to my head. What is going on with people? What are you going to wear? Woo. Men's sexy black swimwear bulge pouch. New style bikini swimwear. Trunks, bag thong, G-string. Is anybody going to wear that? Is anybody going to wear the bulge pouch. If you're interested in the bulge pouch, this is what it looks like right here. It measuring 14 centimeters long by 9 centimeters wide. The product only has one size. Please, must compare to the detail sizes with your penis size before you buy. Because guess what? If you're a real man, it won't fit. And it's only going to not fit one way, right? There it is, the bulge pouch. So you cram, as they say, ye old twig and berries into there, and you're off and running to do whatever it is you do at the pool. I mean, people thought Speedos were crazy when they first came out. I mean, certainly competition swimmers use the Speedo stuff to reduce the drag and stuff like that. I mean, is Michael Phelps going to be wearing this in the next Olympics? I mean, there's no drag capability here. Well, maybe for some of you, there's very small drag that may or may not happen. I'm telling you, I'm somewhat appalled and otherwise scared. Now, if you don't like the bulge pouch, I posted this on my wife's Facebook page, if it's still up there or not. It might not be up there. Let me see. No, it's not that. It's not up there. That's all right. Nevertheless. Well, you definitely don't want to see, what I showed her or what I put on hers. Needless to say, similar style fashion, right? So if you're looking for some new swimwear, the bulge pouch may or may not be for you. May or may not be for you. All right, coming up out of the break, Brad Orison from The Shed. We're going to be talking about Memphis in May Grand Championship stuff. Let me talk to you for a few minutes about the longest running sponsor of the show, located in Warminster, Pennsylvania, called the BBQ Guru. Gang, if you've been thinking about automatic pit temperature control devices for your cookers, stop here. This is the company that started it all. They are the creators of this technology. Why are you going to buy something else from another company that's a pit temperature control device? Don't do it. Look, if you're not familiar with how these beauties work, I'm not going to get into the minutia, but imagine a product that allows you to set your pit temperature, and one set keeps it running at that set temperature all the way through the cook. Sound too good to be true? It's not. It's real life. You can take advantage of this technology today. Maybe you are a busy working professional like me, or perhaps you are constantly on the run with kids and doing errands, and quite frankly, you don't have that time to sit around and tend the pit temps. The Guru allows you to throw on a pork butt or a brisket or a couple slabs of ribs or all of that stuff, and then you're off to do whatever it is you need to get done, and the Guru maintains that pit temperature you want it set at. Bunch of different models to choose from. You got to go to the website to choose the one that will best fit you. If you are looking to control multiple pits and monitor multiple internal temperatures of meat, the Procom 4 wireless, the CyberQ Wi-Fi is the one for you. You got a smart device, tablet, phone, netbook, laptop. You can access it. You don't even have to go outside anymore. You can make your pit adjustments right from your phone. You can check out your internal temperatures of your meat right on your phone. Make those adjustments right there. If you don't need something that high-tech, you can get the Party Q. It's a easy point of entry. The easiest, by the way, in pit temperature control device realm. It's a self-contained package that runs on AA batteries, and you can put it from cooker to cooker to cooker. It's great. I love it. The cruise control for your pit, if you will. If you're in the market for a cooker, by the way, look no further than the Onyx Oven. It's been winning on the competition circuit and the backyards for years. Fully insulated, holds a lot of meat, accommodates half and full pans for food service, and works seamlessly with all of the Guru pit temperature control devices, of course. Do yourself a favor. Head on over to thebbqguru.com and check out their products. If you have any questions about what to order, call them directly. 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. They'll make sure you're outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. 800-288-GURU or thebbqguru.com. The BBQ Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. We're back with Brad Orison from the shed. Next, stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Gotta have the mic on, folks, otherwise it doesn't work, right? This portion of the BBQ Central Show brought to you by CookingPellets.com. Your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Doesn't matter if you got a Traeger or a Gorilla or a Green Mountain Grill or Cook Shack or Fast Eddie or something like that. It will fire all of your pellet-driven cookers, won't void any warranties, nothing like that. To purchase, go to CookingPellets.com, or you can go to Amazon.com as well, thanks to Chris Becker and the folks over at CookingPellets.com. All right, my next guest has already won a whole hog world championship. He has just times that by 2 and has now also become a world champ at the Memphis in May overall grand champ. We welcome back friend of the show, Brad Orison from the shed. Brad, how are you, buddy?
Yes, sir. I tell you, this is the best moments of my life.
Brad, who's the man right now?
Who is the man?
You're the man.
Who is the man?
You're the man.
Austin Terry. Austin Terry, senior pitmaster at the shed.
Yeah, he's the man?
He's the man, I'm not going to lie. But look,
yeah.
I'm the man because I paid for everything. I'll tell you that.
Yes. Without the money, you got nothing but pipe dreams and wishes, bitches, and that's not what gets GCs.
That's right. That's right. But I'll tell you what, you got to be there. And you know what? We were there, and I guess we brought our A game this year. Wow. What a win.
You know, Chris Lilly has won Memphis May a number of times. He's a repeating shoulder category champion this year and last year, obviously. I mean, he's won it, the shoulder category, probably like 8 times or 10 times or something ridiculous like that. One of my favorite all-time, big-time wrestling quotes is, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. And to go up against the likes of Chris Lilly and come out on top, I mean, certainly winning Memphis in May is a crowning achievement, but to go up against the Chris Lilly and then, you know, kind of one-up him this time around, it's got to be extra sweet, right?
Yeah, it's definitely extra sweet. And, you know, even Chris, he said just before they announced who was going to be the grand champion at Memphis in May, he said, Brad, listen, I've won this a bunch of times. There is nobody better that I could lose to than you. And sure enough, the shed took it home, and I guess took it home for Mississippi, the winningest state in the union.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, between you guys and Yazoo's Delta Q, I mean, you got to have somewhere between the neighborhood of like 750,000 Memphis in May championships, right?
I know, right? Well, we've had 2 crowning moments. 2 years ago, we beat Melissa for first place in hog and lost to our Compart family, Sweet Swine of Mine. And this year, we got in there in the finals and managed to come out on top. Everybody on the board was cooking Compart Duroc.
Let me ask you about Compart Duroc pork, Brad. I mean, I've seen it, you know, back, it seems like it was, you know, just a couple of years ago, but literally it's been probably 5-6 years ago now. When Myron Mixon was on Pitmasters, whatever that new version was of Pitmasters, and he started talking about Wagyu brisket, and all of a sudden, like gangbusters, everybody had to get Wagyu brisket. Everybody had to get it, and everybody started using it in competitions. And then slowly but surely, here comes specialty pork. I mean, back in the day, I remember Fast Eddie Morin from, Fast Eddie Cooker fame talking about how he may or may not have used Berkshire shoulders along, but that fell off and never really gained the steam. Now all of a sudden you see this Compart Duroc pork coming over and they're sponsoring teams and everybody's starting to use it. In your estimation, what is setting apart the Compart Duroc pork from what you can buy anywhere else?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. Number one is the marbling. That is just absolutely insane when it comes to cooking competition style. But you got to remember, the more you pay attention. And that's what it takes to win at these competitions is you got to pay attention. And sometimes you got to pay for the pork or pay for the beef. And then you got to pay attention to it. You can win these things with any cut. But you know what? If you want the best shot, you got to go in with the best stuff, man. We won the World Food Championships in the brisket category, and we use Snake River Farms, Wagyu. Everybody's doing it. And you know what? Brought home the trophy. Same thing with the Compart family. And the Cheshire pork from North Carolina. We cooked a Cheshire hog this year, which is a Chester White. And we also cooked two 235-pound Compart family Duroc hogs. And those are the ones we presented. You got to do it right. You got to pay to play, baby.
Brad Orson from The Shed joining us here on the show talking about the Memphis in May competition this past weekend that they won hog in and then won overall GC as well. Brad, if you can kind of set it up for maybe the folks that haven't either been to a Memphis in May or don't really know too much about this particular competition, can you give us a high-level overview of what it's like, cost to be involved with it, and what the win means for any team that's going to be taking part?
Memphis in May, the Super Bowl of swine. It's right around $5,000 to get in, get a waterfront spot. There's no doubt about it. We always, we say go big or go home. And everybody always brings all the trophies. Every booth you go to's got a Memphis in May trophy or a third grade reading trophy or some trophy that they bring in and decorate their site with. And I've got a problem with that because that's like bringing sand to the beach. Bringing a ham sandwich to a luau. We only go there to bring trophies home. And it's the hardest competition to bring a trophy home, but it's the most gratifying. So you figure you got a couple grand in, you're on Tom Lee Park, it always rains, it's a mud fest. Last year it was freezing cold, this year it was smoking hot. Just to be there and be part of it and be involved with so many good barbecuers, men and women, it's a very gratifying experience. To win it, I mean, that's as cool as it gets. But to be there, that's really the cool part of it.
There's a lot of entertaining that goes on. I mean, the stages and the scaffolding. I mean, this isn't like a KCBS or an FBA or an IBCA type of competition event. I mean, this is full scale, maybe almost akin to, what you would find at an entertainment night at an American Royal Party or down at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo. And maybe this even goes to a whole different level for the amount of expense that has to go in for what you're getting back if you win the whole thing. How do you set up for this? Is this something that, when you get there and you have everything set up, it's like game plan, you got to execute it, and there's got to be like 50 billion things that could take your attention away from hitting your particular marks, right?
Yeah, this is our 10th year competing, and I really feel like we finally got our shit together, and we focused on what we were going to do. We went there. We stuck with the recipes. We stuck with the plan. We stuck with the time schedule. even when it rained, even when it was hot, even when it was cold. We put the same amount of Keeksford charcoal on the bin. We put the same amount of pecan and hickory, black cherry, and peach and applewood on at the exact same moments that we planned on. I think that's the hardest thing to do at Mid-May is stay focused, because y'all know me. I'm a day drinker. I like it. I like to have a party every day. But you can't win if you party every time. And that's what our focus was this year. Have a good time, stay focused, stick to the plan, and let's win. We got at least $15,000 in.
Oof.
Let's at least try to win the 30. And this time we walk with 29 grand.
Brad Orson joining us here on the show. Brad, I'm getting a question in from Instant Chat here that I wanted to ask you about. Someone's asking if Big Hoss was helping you. I don't know who that is.
All right, so Big Hoss this year, he got a new boss at work, and they kept him home. So he was texting us like every 25 minutes. And yes, we definitely got a lot of mojo, and everything was working with Big Hoss. He wasn't on site, definitely still part of the team.
All right, so when you the first round of judging, for the people that don't know, it's the blind box stuff, and then you're told if you make it to the second round or not. Obviously, the hog was good enough to get to the second round. The second round is the on-site judging, which takes a whole nother level of skill and couth and, let's be blunt, salesmanship. So are you the guy that is giving the on-site as well?
Well, with the NDN style Memphis May category, or judging style, there's 3 on-site judges.
Yep.
So you can imagine you get 15 minutes. Some random person shows up to your barbecue spot where you have your grill and your garbage and your, broke bent garbage cans and beer cans and maybe the person that might have been hung over a little bit, still looking like a turd right there in your booth. And you got to impress the judge, and you got to do it 3 times. Then you got to turn in your blind box, more like KCBS style or ICBA.
Yep.
You got to turn that blind box in, and that's where a lot of people say, "Oh, Memphis May, you can talk your way into the trophy." Like all you got to be is a used car salesman. But that's not true, because that blind box, it either makes you or it breaks you.
Yep.
And this year we got perfect scores on our blind box. We got some pictures on our Twitter account right now, just the Shed BBQ, showing what the blind box look like. And then you got 3 on-site judges on point. You got to tell them everything you do. There's nothing more exciting than when the golf cart pulls up and tells you that you have finaled.
Now,
at that point, you got 4 judges. You got about a 45-minute period of time. You got 4 judges headed your way on site to see what you got left. If you don't have anything left for finals, it's over. Well, guess what? We had a 236-pound whole hog, Compart Duroc animal waiting for them in its entirety.
Yes. Suck it. So when they show up and you have this entire hog ready to go, you said 230 pounds plus, how do you take them around it?
I introduce and welcome them to what I feel like is one of the best teams in the whole hog circuit and the best teams in the business. I tell them some lies. I tell them a little bit of truth. And most importantly, I show them what we're working with. Just like Kermit the Frog, you got to show them Miss Piggy. And we do. We open up the hall. We open up the smoker. We walk them right to it, explain the different types of woods, explain the flavors that we're providing on the humidity and the Kingsford charcoal and the way that we've cooked this thing for 22 plus hours.
Whoa.
And that's the key is we open the hog and we look at the hog at the exact same time that the judge does or the judges. So when I open it up with my little magical razor knife, that's the first time that I get to look at it. And that's what the Robo Hog style of cooking gives to us, is that we know that it's going to be righteous. So when we break into it, when we explain it to the judge, we know that things are going to be right and it's going to be juicy. One of the best things that I have going for us at the shed and the whole hog that we do is that it is juicy. If 22 hours into this thing, 235-pound hog, if I break the leg off of it or I take the knife and literally cut down by the shank, this thing will pour out juices, like a quart of juices.
Wow.
It's good enough to drink. And that's really where we go with it, with our presentation, is we go with fresh, where we got it, how we did it, and they're the luckiest people on earth to be able to judge it. And some of it, like I say, I lie a little bit, I tell the truth a little bit, we pray before they get there, and we wait for their outcome. Judges, luckiest day on earth.
All right, so once everything is kind of put away and they leave and you go to stage and they're starting the overall calls, when you hear the shed as Memphis in May's 2015 world champion, I mean, winning the hog is great. I mean, that's the second time you've done it. Certainly a feat in its own right, considering the competition you're going up against. But then to win it all over the best ribs and the best pork shoulder that day, what are some of the emotions that are starting to wash over you as you hear the team's name called?
Definitely. I remember looking over at my mom and dad, my sister, when they called our name, and our whole team. And it was just, I could hear everybody cheering in the background. I could see all my mentors like Mike Mills and Pat Burke. They're standing there in the audience, the three taxi guys, Boys Night Out. And I could see them just, it was like almost as if they had won it also, because they all believe in us so much. So it's definitely the most surreal moment ever in my life. I remember the look on my dad's face. You know, he's like, I could just see it. I could see, he's saying, holy shit, we did it. We did it. My little sister, she's like, for all the bank loans that we've taken out and all the stuff I believed in you for, finally we have encapsulated what it is to be a world champion. And John Wheeler from Natural Born Grillers texted me last night, and he said, you know, probably the coolest things that I've ever had in a text message. He said, welcome to the World Champion Club, bud. Congratulations.
Yeah, nothing better than that, right?
Oh, my goodness. Coming from a world champ, really was just surreal.
Does it make it at all, and this is probably a stupid question, but I'm asking it anyway. You know, the shed, it's you, your sister, your mom, your dad. I mean, this is completely, you know, family involved, top down. Does it make it even more special to win something like a Memphis in May, a hog twice, but now grand champion, and knowing that the people you're sharing it most with are the people that are there to support you at your highest highs and your lowest lows?
Yes, 100%. You know, this year, my mom took on the presidency of the National BBQ Association, and we somehow, we're like, oh, Mom, why'd you do that? There's so much involved with that. And she says, I do it because it's in my blood. And we just got to go with it when she says that. And that's the same exact feeling that every single one of the Orison family and our entire crew, that is the drive that we have. I've always told everybody, I don't want to be famous. I just want to be known as one of the best in the business. People are always going to talk good and always talk bad, but to enjoy it with your family and your friends and also your peers, because the people that we're trying to also beat on competition day are most of my best friends. And when I heard some of the gracious things that they had to say after we took the title, and the tears that I saw my mom and dad and myself and sister weep, it's still just setting in. I just brought the trophies home to my kids and my wife today. They're sitting in the living room. I'm just soaking it in, baby.
Yeah, well-deserved, of course. Fine barbecue family, great competition team, and reaping the rewards of years of hard work and finally putting it over the precipice and taking home a grand champion at Memphis in May. It's Brad Orison from The Shed. Again, the website, theshed.com. Brad, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks for recapping.
Thank you.
You got it. There he is, baby. Brad Orison from The Shed, your 2015 Memphis in May world champ, and giving you all the ins and outs right there, man. Doesn't a finer interview you will never get. I mean, for one thing about Brad, genuine. He's going to tell you now. He's a day drinker now. I'd do it. I would do it. I would love it. I would do it. All right, folks, Sucklebusters time, preferred by competition barbecue cooks. Texas-based, 100% made in the USA. New product, that's right, folks, Sucklebusters Honey Glaze and Finishing Sauce. Based on Sucklebusters' award-winning honey barbecue sauce, this is a thin barbecue glaze and finishing sauce made especially for competition ribs and chicken. Super sweet, not spicy. It's super red. They use a special American paprika for bright red color. Brush it on 5 to 10 minutes of cooking. It leaves a glossy red sheen on the meat, extra layer of flavor. Take your competition ribs and chicken to a whole nother level. Available at local barbecue stores or online, sucklebusters.com. If you would like to try a bottle of free honey barbecue glaze and finishing sauce, email me right now, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. That's Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. And in the subject line, put Shedhead Winner, and you can win a bottle of honey barbecue glaze and finishing sauce from Sucklebusters. Again, the website, sucklebusters.com. Take that chicken and rib meat to a whole nother level thanks to Dan Arnold and the folks over at Sucklebusters, sucklebusters.com. All right, we're back with David Qualls from the American Dream Barbecue team right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the BBQ Central Show.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Thanks again to Brad Orison for recapping the big win over at Memphis in May this past weekend. Joining me now, a competition barbecue pitmaster, a barbecue competition promoter, friend of this show, David Qualls of the American Dream Barbecue. Dave, how are you, buddy? How are you, man?
Hey, fella.
Everything good down in Oklahoma?
Well, it is storming like crazy right now,
still?
so hopefully we keep our connection.
Oh, my God. I mean, you guys have been through the ringer recently over there.
Lost some shingles here at the house last week. It's crazy. It's kind of slowed up, but it's still raining pretty hard right now.
Where are you in relation to like Norman and where Oklahoma University is?
Straight east, like 35 miles, right down Highway 9 from Norman. We're about 35 miles southeast of Oklahoma City.
Man, I mean, you guys, it's just been getting, pounded there over the last couple of weeks.
Oh, man, it's crazy.
Well, you need to move somewhere where there's a little bit more mountainous area and get out of that flat land.
Oh, I don't know how to do that, but anyway, my wife's around the corner here, acting goofy.
Hey, there's Christine Qualls, ladies and gentlemen. That's the real pitmaster, right? Own it, David, own it.
Queen.
That's right, Chicken Queen. All right, Dave, so the team has been, I remember last year, maybe it was even kind of right about this time, you getting into summer, you started stringing them together, and you had real good run there, and as luck would have it, or perhaps as skill and practice would have it, you're starting to string them together again. What is going on with the American Dream Barbecue team right now?
We've been cooking week after week. We're kind of in that groove right now. Our flavor profiles are working really well. We're a part of that Big Papa Smokers, Simply Marvelous Team West Coast offense, and obviously we use a large group of their flavor profiles, and so that network is working really good, and it's working good for us. Everything's going real good. We've been struggling in ribs, but I picked up the phone, called Mark Lambert, needed a custom-built backwoods to fit on the back of my Jambo, and he jumped through it right in the middle of all this Memphis and May stuff, got me going, and we broke it out last week, third place in ribs. We win the contest.
Dave, how's the RV driving going for you?
Oh, gosh. It seems like everywhere we go, we get stuck in a mud puddle somewhere. But, of course, then again, every time we get stuck real bad, it seems like we do good, too. So I'm kind of praying for rain at the same time now.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like one of those things where you don't want the tow. But, I mean, if you're winning, you don't want to change anything because barbecue people are pretty superstitious, right?
That's right. I have to have my circus peanuts every Friday and Saturday because that's the lucky elixir right there.
It's circus peanuts for you, and then like for guys like Donnie Bray, it's fish taco. I mean, I've never seen a Friday night go past where that guy ain't cramming fish tacos down his pie hole.
That's right.
That's crazy stuff. When we talk about the West Coast offense, Dave, and I know. I've had Sterling Ball and Steph on many times, and there doesn't seem to be any. There isn't a set playbook, if you will. So, I guess without giving the farm away, what version of the West Coast offense do you find that's winning for you guys?
Well, it's a combination of a little bit of everything, and if you walk into my trailer, you're going to see Sweet Seduction, you're going to see Cherry. You're going to see, Sweet Money. You're going to see Happy Ending. You're going to see Double Secret Steak Rub. All of those products you're going to see, and we use them throughout all four categories, either as a wrapping spice or a finishing rub or a base rub or a complete profile. That mixed with a combination of other sauces and other, rubs that seems to be working universally for us. I mean, we've been in, we've got a GC. We've got 3 GCs in Oklahoma, so it's working really good in Oklahoma right now. We've got a championship this year in Missouri and one in Iowa. And so it's working all up through the Midwest really well. So West Coast isn't necessarily a moniker that it's only out in the West Coast, for sure.
How do you come to a arrival on the individual meat categories and the spices that you're using? How do you figure out it, or are you able to figure out which ones you're using and the amounts you're using by the scores that you're getting, and then once you find the scores that you like, you stick with those particular combinations and go from there?
Well, yes and no. I mean, yes. Obviously it works, leave it alone. But another thing about being part of this Team Marvelous thing, West Coast offense, is there's 16, 18 of us all, networking and talking to each other too. Well, gee, I tried this week. I thought it was a little too sweet. Well, I tried this week and I really liked it. Well, flip back and forth. And outside of that, Travis Clark and I talk a lot, and he's sitting number one in the nation. And Scott Key and I, and Jeff Northcutt, Dr. Nordy's, and Dave Bosca Butcher, we're always talking, and we bounce ideas off of each other. And, I really go to those guys for advice a lot. And, everything works in. I talk with Sterling Ball, literally weekly, sometimes every other day, via Facebook messaging or texting and stuff. And so we're always bouncing ideas. And he's got a lot of culinary science down. And Steph Franklin, same way. I had this rib issue. I wanted to go to a backwoods, more of a charcoal flavor. I know Steph runs backwoods. I reached out and talked with him pretty extensive about it. Scott Nelson with Pigskin, reached out with him, and Dan Hickson with Three Eyes, and came up with a off-the-cuff, last-minute profile and made it work. And, it's networking.
In the backwoods, are you a Kingsford guy? Do you use lump charcoal? What do you like to fuel that?
I'm running Kingsford, that comp blend in it, the competition Kingsford, and it seems to be working very well.
So you're sitting currently number 2 right now, team of the year. You have, as you'd mentioned, Clark Crew Barbecue sitting at 22.15, and you're kind of a close second at 21.39. We're in middle of, let's say, May at the moment. I mean, certainly there's the majority of the competition season left. But given the station of where you're at now and perhaps what you're looking at over the course of the next 7 months or so, will you be making the definitive march down the line to do Team of the Year, or is that not really in the cards for you guys? I mean, how do you look at it?
Well, it's fun to watch and it's fun to chase, but, we've had 5 grands in the last 7 contests. Theoretically, that can't continue to happen. I make a living with the odds, dealing with odds and probabilities. So, we're on a good run right now. We were on the same run early last year, and then we couldn't get a call at awards if our car was on fire at the end of the year last year. So, it's down the stretch. You got guys like Darren Worth. He doesn't have 10 contests in yet. He will pass probably Clark and I both this week while he cooks a doubleheader and makes 9 and 10. We haven't heard from Donnie Bray yet. The guys out on the east side, they don't have but, 6 or 7 contests in. So it's anybody's game. We're just lucky right now that we're seeing our name up in the top of the charts and hope to stay there, yes, but that's not my main goal.
David Qualls joining me here on the show, pitmaster of the American Dream Barbecue Team competition team, sitting second overall KCBS Team of the Year right now behind Clark Crew Barbecue Team. Dave, I was talking with Chris Lilly a little bit earlier in the first hour, and we were talking about the Barbecue Hall of Fame. And you're a fan of the show. You listen every now and again. And you heard me make that big push for me getting into the Barbecue Hall of Fame this year. And I was somehow beaten out by some guy named Steven Reichland. He's an upstart. You probably never heard of him. You don't have a shortage of opinion, and you're not afraid to talk about it when given a chance. What's your thought on the Barbecue Hall of Fame? I mean, it's sad in this really awkward state forever online, and I know I offend people when I say that because some of them are regular guests on the show and they kind of had a hand in it. But nevertheless, at some point, American Royal took it over and wanted to make it more of a Barbecue Hall of Fame. But I find holes throughout. And one of them was, one is the fact that there's categories. I think you should eliminate categories and just induct people. Pick a number of people you want to induct every year and do it that way. Don't have celebrity, humanitarian, don't have business guy, don't have pitmaster, because a lot of those guys could get in for all 3, right? Depending on who we're talking about. And then secondarily, I don't ever think a Hall of Fame should go out to the general public asking for people or asking for who you think should be in the Barbecue Hall of Fame this year. I think if you've been in business for, the last 25, 30, 200, 300 years, or however long barbecue has been in existence, there should certainly be a stable of people you could pick from. And then the argument takes place like it does in every other sport. Well, this guy should wait another 5 years, or this guy should get in next year but not this year, or this guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer or he isn't. Set up criteria that way. How do you see the Barbecue Hall of Fame as it sits right now, and what do you like, and what would you like to see change potentially?
Well, it's...
Wait, or do you even care about the Barbecue Hall of Fame?
Well, yes, because I think people need to be recognized for pioneering what they've done and what we've done in this sport. And if you're going to take it further, you've got to honor your past and your legacies. And that's with any organization. You know, you go to the Country Music Hall of Fame. Lord, how many good guys are out there that played a ton of songs and still out there working it hard that aren't in the Country Music Hall of Fame? It's a hard decision to make. I can see why they categorize it to at least help segment it so it's not all promoters or it's not all guys who've wrote a book. You know, I don't believe the fact that you can write a book and sell 10,000 copies through Amazon or a restaurant supply store makes you the all-seeing, all-knowing eye of barbecue. And so that doesn't make you a Hall of Fame, but it's guys out there that have cooked year in, year out, or have taught or progressed. I mean, you know, if you think about Hall of Fame people, look at the and I don't know who the guy, but look at the guy named Minion and created a Minion method of burning charcoal. You know, how many lives of cooks got enriched by this guy figuring out a way to make your charcoal last longer in your cook where you could rest. You know, you go back to Milroy and his rib technique. A lot of people in the backyard and in the comp circuit followed that technique and learned how to start cooking. You know, I first learned how to cook my first brisket by reading a deal on the barbecue forum on a guy named Scrutchfield on how to cook his brisket. And while that's a good backyard brisket, I would have never got involved in backyard cooking if I had to learn how to cook a brisket by injecting it and making a pencil thin slice and all that. Man, I love just burning the hell out of them on a cheap Brinkmann cooker and have to cut them an inch wide to get them to hold together. Those guys, to me, are pioneers. Obviously, smoking guns hot, you know, the guy who enveloped that, I mean, that's in everybody's arsenal. He's a pioneering rub guy. You got guys like Dave Bosca that should be in just because of what he's done with creating injections and bringing them to the forefront, in addition to being a good cook. And then you've got humanitarians that guys that have went out there and used barbecue as a charitable purpose. And as, you know, I mean, so it's a wide array. And we are so new in the business, it's hard to get enough people. I don't know how they do it, don't care how they do it. I think it's great that they are doing it. And I've watched it at the Royal from a distance, and it's cool. And Greg, someday you should be in the Barbecue Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it should have been this year. God damn it, but I wasn't. I'll wait,
you
though.
Should. You know, if you hadn't stiffed me the last 2 years of coming to the run and being our guest MC, I'm sure that you'd had 20,000 write-in votes already.
Yeah, this would have put me over. You're right. All right. Next year, we're on. For sure. If I can get into the Hall of Fame, I'll go wherever I can possibly go. Dave, where are you guys going to be cooking at next?
We're in Mound City, Kansas this weekend, and next weekend the Dreamliner rolls to Canyon City, Colorado, and then for some reason I have talked myself in and led Chris to believe that we could do a doubleheader the very next day, 3.5 hours away in Loveland, Colorado. So It's going to be a challenge after next week for sure.
Cooking at altitude, do you find any issues with that, or are you well versed with it?
Yes, there are definitely some things that you need to change once you get to altitude, and that's for you guys to figure out, not for me to tell.
That's right. He is the pitmaster of the American Dream Barbecue team, and on a swell run right now, 5 GCs to his credit this calendar year. Dave, always appreciate the time and continued success.
Greg, thank you.
You got it. There he is. David Qualls, the American Dream Barbecue team pitmaster, seeing a sizable amount of success currently. And we wish him continued success as he rolls down the competition trail. All right, folks, I'm going to talk to you about Cook Shack right now. Fast Eddies by Cook Shack. The pellet grill is a smoker and grill all in one. It's stainless steel, 100% wood burning, pellet-fired cooker that uses direct and indirect heat all the way up to 800 degrees. It is the only pellet grill on the market that uses charbroiler technology. Features electronically controlled temperature to eliminate large heat fluctuations that dry and shrink meat. A pellet grill can barbecue, grill, bake, roast, sear, and smoke. Cook Shack has 2 models of pellet grills. The PG-1000 features a fully insulated double-walled rolled hood for superior heat retention, fuel savings, and maximum cooking performance, while the PG-500 features a 2-way swing lid, pellet drop, and utensil holder. The PG-500 and 1000 have many great features, including 784 square inches of cooking space, easy side-loading pellet hopper, fully automated wood pellet feed system, stainless steel cooking grates on the direct zone that produce killer sear marks, nickel-plated grills on the indirect, and top rack, strip bucket, pellet ash drawer, 100% stainless steel construction, warming drawer, 40 pounds of Cook Shack hickory pellets, and on top of all of that, a 30-day money-back guarantee. Use it all you want for 30 days. If you don't like it, you can send it back. Who else is doing that? Nobody else is doing it. It is a versatile pellet cooker that adds full flavor to your recipes, including fajitas, ribs, chicken, steaks, desserts, sides, and large cuts of meats. It can do it all, including cold smoking. Grilling with wood pellets penetrates the food with an intense, smoky flavor. When your cook is done with wood pellets, the fuel is consistent and the smoke more flavorful. The recipes and how-to videos can be found at Cook Shack's YouTube channel or the cooking guide on their website. Call Cook Shack at 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698. And you can order yours today. The PG-500, the PG-1000. We got a new read coming up next week. National Barbecue Month and the Father's Day promotion, so you're not going to want to miss that. Let's just say it's time sensitive. Cookshack.com, that's cookshack.com, 800-423-0698. Good folks at Cook Shack, Stuart, Eddie, Regina, shout out. Check them out, visit them, buy them. You got it. Guest 2990. Did you hear Pork Brothers will be at Berea National Rib Fest this weekend? I believe that is the case. I believe that is the case. All right, we're back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Big B, Moonshine Band, Suburban Boys Records. Let's go! I'm an outlaw. Give me 2 shots. We don't need a radio. Bring a jukebox for my outlaws. Bring me 3 shots. We can raise hell before the speed stops.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Just to confirm, the Pork Brothers will be at the Berea National Rib Fest this coming weekend. You are in the greater Cleveland area, you like rib burn-offs. As I've mentioned, right around Memorial Day, rib burn-offs in Cleveland happen every weekend, sometimes multiple over a weekend. The Mark's Rib Cook-Off is huge. That happens here shortly as well. So if you like the ribs, check it out. You'll be happy that you did. If you're going to be around Berea, which happens to be the home of the Cleveland Browns, baby, no!
Get that free stuff out of here.
Trust me, nobody's going to Berea for anything Browns-related this weekend. It's all going to be pork rib-related. If you want some good pork ribs, you want to check out the Rib Burners, check out the Berea National Rib Cook-Off this coming weekend in Cleveland. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun and exciting. All right, let's wrap it up. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Dave Bosca from Butcher Barbecue, getting the lowdown on the past weekend's happenings at the new Butcher Barbecue stand. Appreciate Dave for jumping in there kind of last minute. We talked with the repeating world champion in pork shoulder, Memphis in May, Chris Lilly of Big Bob Gibson, reserve grand overall at Memphis in May this year. At 10:14, we talked with Brad Orison, the head shed head. The head shed head? He is the grand champion at Memphis in May this year, your reigning 2015 Memphis in May grand champ. He also won Hog to get there, the second Hog win for the team. And then we closed the show with David Quall's American Dream Barbecue team. They got 5 grand championships at KCBS this year, sitting second overall, Team of the Year points. They're going to be doing a couple other competitions here coming up in Colorado. So good luck to them. If you are using the raw cast iron, season it each and every time. Little Pam, little Crisco. After you've taken the food off, as it starts to cool down, hit it with the grill brush. Then put in the Pam, the Crisco, let it burn back in. Generations of rust-free service. You'll thank me later. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.